Hello and welcome to my channel, the Desi Psych Buff. Today let's talk about the Masters in Psychology from IGNOU. Now, what led me to this video was that IGNOU in itself is very hard to go through. What I mean by that is it's all self-studying and psychology is very vast in itself, and especially those students who do not have a psychology background, it can be very hard for you. And because it's a distance learning course, you don't know what exactly is going to go throughout and what you have to do, what you don't need to do, and all of that. So I figured that I could make a video just for that. So in this video, you're going to know everything about the structure, the subjects, the deadlines, and other practicalities of it. Okay. Now let's talk about the content of this video so you know what I'm going to cover. So first I'll talk about the course itself, then we'll talk about the structure, then I'll tell you about the subjects that are there in the first and the second year. We'll also be talking about things like projects, internships, assignments, and practicals. And at the end, I will also list out a few important links that you will require throughout your course. Okay. Now let's talk about the MA Psychology program itself first. It is very flexible in nature, and it is for people who are working and students who really cannot go to college every day. This is for them. It is a completely distance learning course. The eligibility for this course is that you need a graduation degree. It may be in any field. Also, there is no admission test that is required, which normally is the case for other colleges. The duration of this course is for 2 years and maximum 4 years. What they mean by that is that if you don't cover it in 2 years due to some reason, then you have 2 extra years to complete it. Now after those 4 years, you'll have to take your admission for this course. Now there are two times when you can take the admission. That would be in January and in July. So you have to be careful to monitor the website for it. Now there are two ways you can have the course material. So first you can just get it online from the website, or you can order for the physical copy so that you'll get books. Now I'll tell you something, the books don't reach you on time. They also cost you a lot, but they don't reach you on time ever. Now the fees for the same course is going to be 10,100 per year with the books, and without the books it will be 9,300 per year. And I'll tell you one more thing, I would prefer that you don't take the books, because anyway they don't reach you on time, and secondly the whole material is available properly online. Now let's talk about the structure of the course. So obviously we'll have the first year, which will be about the foundations of psychology, the basic subjects of psychology like cognitive, social, personality psychology. Then you will have three options for specializations, which are counseling psychology, clinical psychology, otherwise industrial organizational psychology. So while filling up your form for the second year admission, you have to choose one of these specializations, and you have to be very mindful in choosing your subjects. Okay. So let's talk about the first year of psychology. You're going to have around 6 subjects. Okay. So first one is cognitive psychology. It explores mental processes. The second one would be lifespan psychology, which examines human development from conception to death. Then it will be personality psychology, which focuses on identifying the unique patterns of thinking, feeling of an individual. Then we would go for social psychology, which is about how an individual interacts in their society, so and how the society affects that individual. Then we'll go for research methods. This is very much important if you choose the project option in your second year. So basically it tells you what are the different types of researchers that we use in psychology. And last would be statistics, which is again important if you choose the project option in your second year. So these are basically, once you gather data, this subject helps you understand how you can analyze that data and how you can use those statistical tools to understand that data. Okay, now in addition to all these 6 subjects, you'll have one more, which is a practical. But I'll talk about that in later in more detail. Now, we'll talk about the second year and mainly the specialization counseling psychology. Okay, we'll talk about the subjects in counseling psychology. First would be counseling psychology, of course, which explores principles and practices of counseling. Okay. Second would be assessment in counseling and guidance, which focuses on various assessment tools and methodologies that we use in counseling. Then would be interventions in counseling, which explores diverse therapeutic intervention and strategies that we use in a clinical setting. Then last part would be either a project, or you can choose the subject applied positive psychology. I'll talk about project in detail later, but the subject here with applied positive psychology is about, the application of those positive psychology principles to, enhance well-being and happiness. Now, in addition to these 4 subjects, you'll also have a practical, which I'll talk about later on. Now, let's take a look at the second option for specialization, which is clinical psychology. The first subject would be psychopathology, which talks about the mental disorders, their symptoms, causes, etc. Second would be psychodiagnostics, which focuses on assessment techniques. Then psychotherapeutic methods, which explores, the various therapeutic interventions and strategies that we might use. And the last one again would either be a project, or you can use the subject applied positive psychology. Again, in addition to these 4 subjects, you'll also have one practical. The last option for specialization here is industrial organizational psychology. First subject would be organizational behavior, which explores how individuals and groups act within organizations. Second would be human resource development, which focuses on strategies for improving employee skills. Then third would be organizational development, which examines planned interventions designed to improve an organization's effectiveness. And last would be again either the project or the applied positive psychology subject. In addition to all these 4 subjects, again, you'll have one practical. Now, let's talk about project. So what exactly is project? So it is, first of all, an alternative to the subject applied positive psychology. But project here basically means a research paper. So you have to select a topic, you have to work on it, you have to write a synopsis that you will submit to your head in your regional center. Then that head would either approve your synopsis, then you can go ahead to work on that research paper, gather data, do the statistics, analyze everything, and finally you have to submit the research paper. Okay, now the format in which the research paper is to be written is also given in your handbook. Also remember that a viva will be taken for this project. Okay, now the project will be for the second year. Then we'll talk about internship. So first point of internship is that you have to choose an internship that gives you at least 240 hours of training in 1 year. Okay. Second, so internship will, help you acquire skills, basically under a trained practitioner, which helps you for your further plans. Basically, if you want to, practice counseling. Third would be you have to have 10 cases, okay, which should involve case history. It should also involve mental status examination and psychological testing. Out of those 10 cases that you're going to have, you have to have intervention in at least 2 of them. Okay, you need to carry out intervention in at least 2 of those cases. And the last point is a report in a proper format you have to submit based on your internship and what you have learned and the case studies. You have to submit a report, and that format is given in the handbook. Now the internship part is also for the second year. Okay, now let's talk about assignments. I know, so assignments here, so basically you'll have to submit your assignments one assignment per subject each year. Okay, those marks that you will get for your assignments will also be counted in your final marking. It's like 30% for assignments and 70% for your final exams. Okay, now what are those assignments? So they're going to be in format of question and answers, and you have to remember that you cannot copy and you cannot use chat gpt. There cannot be any copyright issues, so to say. Now let's talk about practicals. But before we go to practicals, I remembered something. For your assignments, you have to make sure that when you submit them, they'll give you a receipt. You have to keep that properly. So in case there is some discrepancy in whether you have submitted it or not, or with the university, then you have a proof that you have submitted your assignment. That's one. And secondly, don't forget to uh, xerox your assignment so you can have a physical copy with you, because they're going to sign your xerox copy of the assignment. Okay, now let's get back to practicals. So they're going to be conducted in the laboratory, so you'll get like few days, back to back days mostly, that you have to go to the college, your regional center, and conduct these practicals. Now the teacher there will be there to help you in explaining how to do the practicals, the background of it, etc. Now, there is a proper format in which your journal or practical record has to be written. That format is also given to you in the handbook that you receive. Now, the actual conduction of practicals and the journals will have 50% weightage, and your viva would have 50% weightage. Okay, all of that will be done in those few days itself. And remember that also, just like the assignments, you also have to keep a copy of your practical record with you before submitting it to your study center, and keep the receipt that you might get as a proof with yourself. Okay, so we've reached the end of our video today. I have answered most of the questions that I had at the beginning, but if you have any questions, please comment on my video. I'm going to list out here some important links that you might require throughout your course. Before I get to those links, on your website, on the IGNOU website, you will have a program guide. Okay, make sure you download that guide, you read it thoroughly. So if you have any questions, most of the time they are answered in the program guide. And if you don't get your answers, you can anytime call the regional center, and most of the time they give you proper answers. Okay, now the important links are these. So the main site is there. Then for your online material, IGNOU is the site for that. Then you have the Samarth student portal, and one more is for question papers. This will help you prep for your exams. Okay. And thank you so much for bearing with me throughout this video. Let's end with a quote. Jnanam paramam balam. Knowledge is the ultimate strength. That is the one thing that we need to remember every time we sit for studying, that we are here for knowledge and not just for preparation of exams or just getting through a course, but we should gain some knowledge from what we do. Okay, so this is me signing off. Thank you so much for bearing with me, and like, share and subscribe my videos.